Cosmic Musings and the Sands of Time. As the conversation between Mark and Rick went on, it wandered beyond the salt ponds into the realm of cosmic mysteries. Mark marveled at a star older than time itself, a celestial sage whispering secrets across the eons. Their conversation danced between black holes and poetry. Rick recited verses about fleeting existence, while Mark pondered the restaurant at the end of the universe. They wondered if parallel worlds existed, where alternate versions of themselves explored different paths. The yin and yang of cosmic forces fascinated them, the delicate balance that birthed galaxies and extinguished stars. Meanwhile, back to our story. In the heart of Back Bay, where the salt ponds mirrored the sky, Mark's father, Sparks, found a stretch of land that whispered of potential. This was the Irvine property, a vast expanse that beckoned with its untamed beauty and the promise of prosperity. The Irvine property and the sand business. Sparks, a man of vision, saw beyond the wild grasses and the rolling dunes. He envisioned a place where Earth's humble gifts could be transformed into pillars of industry. With hands weathered by work and a heart fueled by ambition, he set up his sand business on this unclaimed cabinets. The land was part of the Irvine Company's holdings, but it lay dormant, untouched by the hands of progress. Sparks, with a pioneer spirit, did not wait for formalities. He brought in machinery, laid down tracks, and began the arduous process of mining the sand that would feed the foundry's insatiable hunger. Days turned into years, and the sand business flourished. The land, once silent, now hummed with activity. Conveyors chugged and screens shifted, separating the precious grains that would become the backbone of industry. The foundries awaited, the fiery malls aglow, ready to cast the dreams of a growing nation. But the story of the land was one of silent agreements and unspoken understandings. Sparks reached out to the Irvine Company, seeking their blessing, but no word came. No rent was asked, and none was given. The land of the McClellan family existed in a quiet symbiosis, each benefiting from the other's presence. As Mark grew, he watched his father tend to the business with a dedication that bordered on reverence. The sand, like a golden treasure, supported them, sent Mark to school, and put food on their table. It was more than a business. It was a legacy in the making. Yet change is the only constant, and the winds of progress brought whispers of development. The Irvine Company, waking from its slumber, cast its gaze upon the land. They saw homes where Sparks saw sand, streets where he saw tracks. The company's vision for the future did not include the McClellan sand business. With a year's notice, the dream was asked to pack up and leave. Sparks, ever the stoic, faced the news with a quiet strength. The closing of the business was not just an end, but a transition. It was a chapter closing, making way for new stories to be written. Impact and resilience. The, fam- the families rallied as families do. They looked upon the empty land, the silent machines, and they remembered. They remembered the laughter, the sweat, and the triumphs. The closing of the sand business was a loss, but it was also a testament to their spirit. Spark, with the wisdom of the salt ponds in his veins, knew that life was about adaptation. He gathered his families, and together they faced the horizon. New ventures awaited, new dreams to be cast. The land on the Irvine property had been a chapter in their story, a chapter filled with grit and grace. And so Mark's legacy was not just of sand and salt, but of resilience. It was a story of a family that stood firm against the tide of change, their roots deep in the land they loved. They carried forward the lesson of the salt ponds and the sands of time, ready to write their next chapter under the vast open sky. And thus the tale of Mark and his family continues, woven into the fabric of the land, a narrative of endurance, hope, and the underlying spirit of adventure.